What's going on everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk more in depth about the combat system. First of all, when you enter a battle, you have to deploy your units. You have some blue tiles to deploy your units on them, and sometimes you're going to have more than 5. On that battle, I have 5 heroes maximum to use, and sometimes you're going to have 3, sometimes 4, and the maximum I've seen so far is 6. But on that specific battle, I have 5 units to deploy maximum. Before deploying your units, it's very important to have a look at the map before, so you can find the different enemies and check their classes. You can find the different items you have on the terrain, such as that barrel or that one, or the barricades, for example. And you can check the disposition of the terrain and the different heights you are gonna find on it. When you check the middle of that map, you will find a dark and a blue unit, and in fact it's super easy to remind what class beats what other class. Green beats blue, blue beats red, and red beats green, and yellow beats dark. Super easy. It's like in Pokemon, grass beats water, water beats fire, and fire beats grass, and light beats dark. Super easy, right? So considering the units I have on the top, I'm gonna deploy these units in here. I'm gonna also deploy my Maita here because there is an explosive barrel and I want to push that barrel on that target before that one pushes that barrel on my heroes. Otherwise, I'm gonna explode. And same comments over there on the right of the map. These units are gonna push these barrels on my units. They are gonna explode and deal some AoE and dot damage to my units. Still, before entering the battle, you can click on that button on the left to see in what order the units are gonna take their turn. For example, Maita here has the number 1, so she is gonna take the first turn, that unit is gonna take the second turn, and so on. One more thing, on specific levels, you will find some red arrows, which means that after a certain amount of turns, some enemies are gonna spawn on the marks. And last thing before starting the battle, if you click on that button, you can choose the talent skills you want to use. If you want to unlock these skills, just go on your talents, select a class, and unlock the skill you want. You have 3 different ones that you can equip for the battle, and you can check over there how much is it gonna cost to cast the skill and its cooldown. So that one, for example, is gonna cost 350 of these, which means that at the beginning of the battle, I won't have enough to cast it directly. So I have to wait a few turns to recover some of these and cast that skill later. Otherwise, you have that one for 200 or that one for 100, and that one has 4 turns of cooldown and that one 3. So now I started the fight and I can play with my first unit, Maita. You will find some blue and the red tiles and sometimes some purple tiles. I'm gonna show that right after. The blue tiles correspond to the tiles on which you can move with your units, and the red tiles correspond to the tiles on which you can attack. And so when you click on that icon on the left, you can see the purple tiles, which means that if you move on that tile, the opponent on his turn will be able to attack you. And if I move on that tile, for example, all the 3 enemies can attack me on the next turn. I can't attack on these tiles because there is nothing to attack, right? If I stay on that tile, for example, if I select one of my skills, I can select the barrel and attack the barrel. But if you want an advice, avoid attacking directly the barrels like that, otherwise they are gonna explode and deal some damage on your units. But don't worry if you made a mistake during the battle, because you have that feature. You just have to click on that button and you can rewind the battle. You just have to confirm. You can do that 3 times per battle and you can change your action. For example, instead of doing that, I'm gonna try to push the barrel, and for that, I'm gonna use a skill. And to use a skill, you need some action points. These are the points required to use the skills. You can find them on your character. I have 3 for now, and every turn you are gonna recover 1. You can use your basic attack every turn because it doesn't require to have some action points, and you need to be careful because some skills are requiring only 2 or 1, but some others are gonna ask for 3, 4, or maybe I'm pretty sure that we have some using 5 directly. And you can also check that by clicking on the enemy and you can see their action points. You can see their HP, their stats, and every skill they have. So I'm gonna use that skill to push the barrel. But in fact, the barrel went only 2 tiles away, so maybe it wasn't the smartest idea. So one more time, I'm gonna restart my action, and instead of attacking the barrel, I'm gonna use my talent skill. I can select that one, and as you can see, I have a big range. So I'm gonna select that barrel and attack it, so the guard is not gonna push that barrel on my heroes, and you will see what is inside the barrel. You have some wine, and the wine is reducing your movement. But before continuing, let me show you that talent skill, the big one, the AoE damage. Before doing the action, if I click on that unit, if I click on the card right behind me, I can check the details of the unit. You can see his movement with the blue tiles, and so you can see that he will be able to reach that position. So he can move 4 tiles in total. So now if I use that talent on that barrel, I'm gonna destroy the barrel, and if I click again on him now, you can see that his movement speed has been reduced by half. And you can find the debuff over there, so 40% less movements for 2 turns. And by the way, when you check the class of your unit, you will have different movements, high jump and low jump. I'm gonna talk about that a bit later. And for example, on Maita, I have 3 movements. And if I take the Crimson Falcon now, I have 5 movement. She is a Seeker, and generally the Seekers have more movement. So now let's talk about high jump. As you can see on the screen, my character is trying to go on a platform with 2 of height. He has a 2 high jump, which means that he's gonna need to spend an extra movement if we want to go on that tile. And that's why he can move only 4 tiles instead of 5 normally. And then you have the low jump. As far as I understood, in fact, when you push a target 1 tile down, he is not gonna take any damage at all. But if you push the target 2 tiles down or more than that, he's gonna start taking some fall damage. And of course, you can push the target down a hole and he is gonna die instantly. You can also push one enemy on another to deal damage to both of them, or push an enemy on a wall or on a rock and he's gonna take some extra damage as well. Pushing skills are really strong. As you can see right now, I killed most of the enemies using only barrels that I pushed on them. You will also find some wine barrels with lanterns, and if you attack them, you don't need to push them. They are gonna roll until they hit something, explode, and put some fires on the ground. As I said before, you have the wine barrel, reducing the movement speed of the target. And then same command as the previous one, you just have to attack it, don't need to push it, and it's gonna roll until it hurts something. You are gonna find some rocks as well, and once you hit them, they are gonna roll until the end of the map, going through everything on their way. And finally, you will also find some traps on the different maps in the game. You just need to stand on them and then they are gonna trigger. And you are probably gonna find more stuff as well. Placement is also really important when you want to maximize your damage, and for that you have 2 different things to take into consideration. First of all, when you attack the target from the front or from the sides, the damage are not going to be optimal, and depending on the target you have in front, he will counter-attack. So this is not the optimal way to increase your damage. But when you attack from behind, the damage are going to be increased and the target is not going to counter-attack. So this is the optimal way to go. Something else now, when you want to attack a target on a higher spot than yours, you are gonna have a malus on your damage, whereas if you attack from a higher spot, your damage are gonna get increased. So this is the optimal way to go. Outside of the normal skills, you have some that you can put in a direction to trigger an effect when an enemy is gonna come inside. The blue areas are yours and the red ones are the enemy's ones. You can have multiple ones covering the same area, and generally maybe it's gonna depend on the units, but once you trigger the one time the effect, then the area is gone. And when you attack a target while he is focusing on an area, you are gonna disable his attack. In that game, there are so many features that are adding a lot of strategy to battles that the game is amazing for that. I'm pretty sure that there are many things to talk about. There are many strategies, and for example, on a stage I was hard stuck and I just changed my strategy by waiting for the enemies using the terrain, and I was able to clear that stage. That game is amazing, and for the lazy people, you can use that feature. It's an auto mode and you can accelerate the battle by checking that checkbox. And so you just have to watch your team doing the job and the fight is gonna end. Maybe you are gonna win, maybe not, who knows? So guys, that was all for the video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you are gonna join me on that game. That's gonna be a super experience. Even if you are not spending, there are so many things to do in that game, even without spending. This is a huge game in my opinion. Let me know what you think about that in a comment below. Have a really nice day guys, and see you on the next video. Bye bye.